Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The last 3.5 decades have seen tremendous growth in economic growth in China, pulling hundreds of millions out of poverty. But in the meantime, the increase of pollution discharge have caused contamination of our air, water, and soil, exposing hundreds of millions to health hazards. Years ago, beside the third largest freshwater lake in China, I saw this group of fishermen scooping out the blue algae with the long ladles. And they told me that many years ago, they could easily jump into the lake in a hot day like this for a bath. But now, they need to stay away from any splash of the lake water because it could cause their skin to itch. Pointing to the factories along the shoreline, they said that the lake will not go clean until those chemical plants stop dumping. Years of research make me understand how tough it is to stop those dumping. With the weak enforcement, the cost of violation is very low, and those who cut corners often become more competitive in the market. I came to realize to solve issues of such complexity and magnitude, we must have extensive public participation. And people must be informed first. So we started developing a national pollution database based on the government monitoring. The first year, very little information, less than 2,000 of violation records we can find. But last year alone, we got over 70,000 of records, and today, more than 500,000 in our database. So this shows the historic progress made in China's environmental transparency. Using this data, we started engaging with the multinational and local brands sourcing from China by linking polluting factories with those major brands. But one by one, they can easily give us a beautiful policy statement, but acknowledge in practice, they don't know who are polluting and who are not, so they can only buy from the cheapest. And I told them I happen to have a list that may help them. Still, it took efforts to help them overcome that initial resistance. So in an on-site investigation like this is another lake in the middle reach of the Yangtze River. We saw it's badly polluted, and the fisherman told us that he believed for generations the villagers will suffer. And to me, our sampling research result shows that the lake bottom got laced with heavy metals, resulted from the electronic factory nearby. And we all got quite depressed. However, there's a sharp turn. When those leading IT brands decided to change its policy and started using the data to manage their supply chain. One of them is Apple. Its massive sourcing power has finally motivated this company, this electronic factory, not just to fix its discharge on site, but actually spent huge efforts to scoop out the metals from the bottom of the lake. Then we started, when hundreds of electronic factories started changing behavior, we engaged with another industry, the fashion industry, which is responsible for 2.5 billion tons of textile wastewater in our densely populated coastal regions. With one factory, responsible for this discharge point, partially responsible, We engage with it. It's one of the top 10 dye houses in China. But the factory keep telling us it cannot treat the wastewater, because if they started doing this, they will add on the cost, and then they will lose their business from the brands who want to buy from the cheapest. But one by one, those textile brands and retailers which began to use our data, started engaging with this factory, telling them if they don't comply, then they're going to lose their business. Finally, this factory spent 100 million yuan on water treatment to make sure that every year 12 million tons of textile wastewater be discharged, be properly treated before it's discharged into the local waterways. 2013, to further engage with the raw material suppliers and energy suppliers, which is very upstream of the supply chain, we launched a total transparency initiative, calling for the real-time disclosure of the online monitoring data. This has not happened in any parts of the world, so we thought it's going to take many years. But to our surprise, the Ministry of Environmental Protection made a bylaw to require this to happen from 2014, but on 29 different provincial platforms. So we decided to take advantage of the mobile internet to compile that into a cell phone app called the Blue Map, which enables the users not just to access the information, but share that through social media. And tagging the official account, social media account, to make that a macro report against those powerful polluting factories. So far, thousands of these micro reports have been filed, and more than 750 major coal power plants, steel manufacturers, those cement and chemical factories have openly addressed to their violation records. So you could see some of these how these red dots have turned blue. Red, you will try to visualize red, meaning that they're not in compliance. At the starting point, many of them are in red. But today, I'm happy to see many of them have turned blue. So the past 5 years of National Clean Air Act action plan have resulted in a 30% reduction of the pollution level in major cities in China. But we still need to do more on air and even more on water and soil. So we are upgrading our platform to help those people who want to access the information and want to get involved. If they want, then I hope they could do it anywhere, anytime. I thank you for coming, for your attention, and I hope that you can join our efforts. In today's globalized production, trade, and investment, your decision, your choice, day in, day out, can also make an impact in our part of the world. And if you do care, then you can check out on our website or on the Blue Map app about the green supply chain performance of more than 260 multinational and local brands. And I hope you understand, making your green choice and raising your expectations to those brands that you consume could be a great help to our efforts, pollution control efforts in China and in the world. Thank you.